Welcome to the regular Board of Education meeting for the Ticonderoga Central School District for October 16th, 2012. I'll have a call to order, please. Emergency evacuation instructions, Mr. McDonald.
Exits in the back and off to both sides.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, thank you again for coming. For those of you that do come to the meetings every month, I believe next month's meeting is going to be held at the Hague Community Center. So next month, November 20th, same time at the Hague Community Center. So that's just the point of for your calendars. So we'll go with public participation. The CFES School of Distinction, Mr. Stephen Boyce. Mr. Boyce.
Well, I'm going to have the pleasure to present to Ticonderoga School District, and especially Ticonderoga Middle School, the College for Every Student designation of School of Distinction. And just a quick update on what the School of Distinction is, and what College for Every Student is. We are a nationwide nonprofit organization that feels every student should have the opportunity, when they graduate from high school, go on to some form of education, whether it's tech school or college or junior college, community college, four-year college, some kind of further education. And we've been doing this since 1991. We have 3 practices that we work with schools. We help schools to set up a mentoring program, a leadership program for students, and what's called Pathways to College, which is an early college awareness, which involves not only going to visiting colleges, but learning about paying for colleges, helping families understand what college life is about. 3 years ago, we started a program to recognize schools that went way above and beyond 3 practices, and not only worked with a target group of students that we call scholars. There's usually 50 to 100 students in each school that we worked with, called scholars, but we wanted a program that would reach out to the whole school. So this was a School of Distinction program. And schools to be recognized as a School of Distinction, not only do they have to do the 3 practices and have those solidly in place for their scholars, but they also have to do activities that would help other students too. We call it growing the college culture in a school. And they have to develop activities that would serve as a model for other schools. Schools have to apply for this distinction. We had last year, of our 150 schools that we worked with, 33 applied for the School of Distinction. It's a year-long process. Of that 33 who applied, at the end of the year, there were 20 schools left, because there is a pretty strict review process that goes through. They have to apply. They have to, at the end of the year, submit a final report along with a portfolio, which shows what they did. There were 20 survivors, and of that 20, only 4 middle schools were determined to be schools of distinction. And I'm so proud to announce that Ticonderoga Middle School, for the 3rd year, the program's been around for 3 years, and for each year of those 3 years, Tig Middle School has been chosen a School of Distinction. The review panel was impressed with the mentoring program that involves college students, college athletes from both Middlebury and Castleton, working with students. Very impressed with the student leadership, which requires community service. And the planning of a student exchange with Hawaiian school. And the little thing, students, all 6th grade students have to write a college, what would be a college essay or a personal essay. And Mr. Lang's topics, for that, like starting topic, those have been used by a number of other schools in our network. So Ty Middle School done a great job, and at this time, if you'll come up, Mr. Donahue, I'll give you the... Oh, great, great. Even better. Here you go. Show everybody to unroll it. And this, they will, so, great job, guys. Great job. At the national conference, so it's College for Every Student Conference in November, they will be receive a plaque that also for the school announces them as a school of distinction. Job well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boyce.
Very well.
Where do we hang that somewhere? Or?
We put that in the middle school. Or in the gym, yeah.
Okay.
Just a point of information, people may not know, we've really enjoyed our relationship with CFES. Actually, I think our relationship started back in 1998, and it's been a great program for us. We've got a lot of things that we've sustained throughout the relationship with this group, and we were really I don't want to pat ourselves on the back. We were the catalyst for the Adirondack Consortium. It was our involvement with that group that kind of motivated them to attract other Adirondack schools, and it's been a very positive consortium, and it's been a great relationship. And as someone who's seen it the entire time we've been here, it's neat to watch it grow and evolve, and great to see that we're still working very closely with that organization. So thank you, Mr. Boyce.
Very good. Okay, we'll go on to B, the Alternative Education Program. Mr. Burley, an update for us. Good.
If I'd known I had to follow Mr. Boyce, I'd postpone this till next.
It's a hard.
Well, it's almost impossible, and I don't like him much. As you requested, I thought this would be a good time to update you on the alternative high school and how we're doing. I don't have a whole long list of things to tell you, but we had 12 students enrolled. Most are regular attendees, which is a positive. We've had only one minor behavior problem, and we were able to solve that in-house. Most of the issues are that of tardiness and some regular absences. On the positive side, now, I do want to preface what I'm saying. I don't want to get too real excited about the positives and down about the negatives. It's pretty average. But the positives are students that are buying into the program. That's one of the major positives. I wish some of you, I'll talk about that later. For the most part, our work study, work program is being a success. Kids are buying. One of the things that I hadn't really thought of, and when I was talking with another teacher, I asked him what I could say about what he thought about the program. And he said, well, really, in his terms, the students were doing well, everybody was doing well, but in terms of professional development, he felt it was very, very important. Because for the first time, he was working a little bit outside his department and actually could see what other teachers, English teachers, science teachers, social studies teachers, how they were handling problems and how we are so connected in that small environment with the four teachers and with me. And I had experienced that in my previous job at the BOCES, but it was something that I hadn't thought about. It was kind of a regular thing, but it has become a very regular thing in this experience for the teachers, which is a major positive thing in terms of professional development and in terms of the way that you look at students. So, I really take that as a major positive. The students seem to be very comfortable in the program, and the small class size is advantageous for both teachers and students. there's been some amazing things to me that have happened. I can just give you one experience where these were three, well, what we would have called here kind of hardcore discipline problems in the high school. And in science, they were trying to show revolution of the moon and the earth around the sun. And these three kids, we had one with the earth going around the sun, and a third one was the moon going around the earth, walking around in the armpit. It was just, I just looked at it, this is unbelievable. So there's been some major, just major things that have been great as far as that goes. And again, on the negatives, we need to try a little bit better. And these are things that we need to do. When I say negatives, it's more of a checklist for us of things that we need to focus on a little bit. We need to get all the students to buy into work study. We've had a little bit of a problem with that. Not, nothing huge, but a little problem. We need to improve students getting there to school. They're getting there, but they're being tardy. They're missing a class or two sometimes. The fact that they're mostly there at the end of the academic program is great. We just need to improve on that a little bit. We need to start, and we've got the academic program pretty much where we need to be, but we need to start to figure out interjecting some of the work readiness and the customer service curriculum to satisfy the grant for one thing, but it's a good thing for these students to have. And we're going to start working it in a little bit of English and in an math type situation. So those are things that haven't been done yet, but they're in the planning stages. And the last thing, again, this is just getting used to things, getting the kids into a routine. We need to be a little bit more productive with the time between their work and the end of their academics and their work. And it's just a matter of getting ourselves together and figuring out the right way to do this. But this is something that I say, and I really mean this strongly. If I were able to step back and look at from where we started and look at the program, and as an outsider, I would say it's a phenomenal success. But as I say, as an insider, I can see some of the weaknesses that we need to work on, and I can see some of our successes, maybe not as well as an outsider looking in would see how well things are meshing and how well things are coming together. So the teachers that are there are doing a great job, but they're also buying into the program and the way that we're working things. So in that regard, it's great. As I say, we really haven't had any discipline problems, which is really wonderful. Again, if we were considered the problems we have is the tardiness and sometimes the absences. The last thing that I want to say is that we feel that this program is doing well, but one of the things that I said to the board when we were first talking about this program was that the hope was that we would get some of the discipline problems and be able to have those students buy into school. But the other part was that possibly it might improve the atmosphere of this school. And I'd like, if you would accept it, have Mr. Grange come up and just talk a little bit about the discipline. But before we do, if you have any questions for me, first, we'd love to answer them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
That maybe you or Mr. Green can answer. You talked about the attendance being one of the areas that you need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But how would you compare these students' attendance this year to their attendance last year?
I would have to say I can't give you a statistic, but it's a whole lot better. Again, as I say, I'd like to see it have everybody get there on time, be there every day. So maybe I'm picking a little bit, but that is something we do need to work on. But compared to, I think Mr. Green can attest to this, compared to last year, the attendance is far, far better.
Do we provide transportation for these students?
In terms of going to their job site, yes. The students, if it becomes absolutely necessary, we've worked out a plan that if the student needs transportation, transportation in the morning for the academics, we'll figure out a way to do it, but as yet, that hasn't been a problem.
They don't ride the regular bus,
No.
right?
And we did that because we took some of the good things we could see in a tutoring situation, and we tried to apply those things to the alternative high school.
We do have a couple kids ride the PM bus at 3 o'clock, and if they finish their work site, they get transported back to high school.
In general.
The reason I asked that, I happened to be in the office one morning, I don't know what I had to come in for, but Mr. Shaw came in and he was flabbergasted that a kid had walked almost from the fort to get to school. And he says, I can't believe that kid, knowing that kid, would get up and walk from almost the fort to school to get there. I thought that said something in itself for years.
Well, we even had, not that this is a pleasant, we had a student come in who was obviously sick. And the student eventually had to leave because she was sick, but she actually came to school that day and then, just had to leave. So that was kind of an eye-opener for me. I thought that was pretty special also. Anybody else?
I think, thank you very much for coming, and really appreciate the update. And from the standpoint of, from folks that, from a person that employs people, continue to work on getting folks there on time, because when they do get out in the workplace, they do have a job, they do have a start time, so I mean, just continue to work that, and I applaud you for bringing that up.
Well, as I say, we're trying to do, we know what we're doing right now, but we know what we need to work.
Small steps.
Absolutely. Sounds right. And if Mr. Graney could fill you in, or?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Burley.
I've been down 3 times, once for the minor discipline situation, the other 2 just adopted. And I can tell you, these 12 kids, I knew pretty well last year, fairly well last year. And the fact that we're talking about some tardy issues and maybe a little bit of attendance is pretty impressive. Because of the records last year, they weren't successful in high school, which is why they're where they're at. The few times I've been down there, I can't believe you walk in, you see these 12 kids academically engaged. And those are 2 words that haven't fit those kids since they've been in high school. And they're all involved in what's going on in the classroom. So I've been real impressed with that part of it. From a discipline standpoint, these 12 kids aren't all one clique. They're not all friends with each other. So when they're in our building and they're making a bad choice, they're typically not doing it by themselves. And there's usually another kid with them. It's not all of those kids. So 12 back here, if they're making a bad choice, to be 24. We do track our discipline, and we talked about 2 years ago our struggles in high school. We had 785 discipline referrals in 1 school year. Last year, I think we had a nice group of senior leaders that came in and really changed the climate of our building, and we knocked 153 referrals off that total. So we're down to 632, which is over a 20% reduction. In this year, and I think alternative high school is a big part of it, I think the PBIS initiative is a big part of it, we're 54% lower as of today compared to last year as of today. So September and October through October 16th, we're coming at a 54% reduction in discipline referrals, which would, if you just did that rate for the school year, would be a total of 290 referrals. And we maintain that 54% reduction. So it's this building in 2 years, going back before last year, going back 2 years, the climate in the building is drastically improved. Teachers feel it. The kids are, the kids are proud to be here. And I wouldn't say that was the case 2 years ago. It was one bad year, but it was a rough year. It's nice to see the kids and the staff bounce back and that atmosphere of the building that we have now. Questions?
Mr. Burley, the logistics of the facility okay?
It's super. Yeah, it's far enough away for some things and near enough for others. It's worked very well.
Thank you, Mr. Grady. Mr. Mr. Woods.
Yeah, and as much as I hate to say something nice about Mr. Burley, last week I'm on the library board, and last week I was in the library. I said to the librarian, it was all decorated for Halloween, a Halloween theme, and I said, "Oh, what a nice job you did." She said, "Well, I didn't do that. It was one of the students from the alternative ed program, I guess doing their internship, came down and decorated the library." So, on behalf of the library, we thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate the
The other thing is, that's exactly what we love to see in CFES. That's the leadership piece that kids need to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Okay, any other questions or comments on that?
Presentations. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now we'll go to recommended actions. A, approval of minutes and financial items. 1A, recommended motion that the Board of Education make any necessary corrections and approve the minutes of the regular Board of Education meeting held on September 18, 2012. And B, acknowledge receipt of the monthly financial reports. And C, acknowledge the receipt of the schedule of bills. And there's an enclosure on that. And D, recommended motion that the Board of Education authorize the elimination of the middle school student recognition extracurricular account and approve transferring the funds to the middle school student council extracurricular account effective for the 2012-2013 school year. And we'll do a motion on those items, please.
So moved.
Any questions or comments on any of those? Pretty straightforward. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. So we'll go over to B, personnel. 1, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve of leave of absence for Wendy Shaw as a senior typist receptionist effective from September 1 through approximately November 30th, 2012 under the Family Medical Leave Act, and enclosure on that. 2, recommended motion that the Board of Education releases from employment Elizabeth Hamill as a teacher aide in the Special Education Department effective September 19th, 2012, and there's an enclosure on that. 3, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the following substitutes for the 2012-13 school year pending fingerprinting and approval by the State Education Department. Carl May, food service helper; Michael Riley, teacher; Tricia Stricker, teacher aide; Jamie Barnhill, uncertified teacher, teaching assistant, and teacher aide; Kashina Trudeau, uncertified teacher, teaching assistant, teacher aide, school secretary, senior clerk, and library clerk; Aracy Arang, I can't get that one. Aranguis, thank you. Teacher, tutor, teaching assistant, teacher aide, school secretary, senior clerk, and library clerk; Amanda Powers, uncertified teacher, teaching assistant, and teacher aide, and there's an enclosure on all those applications. And then 4, recommended motion that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Margaret Polaronicus as a part-time occupational therapist consultant, 2 days per week for 7.5 hours per day, effective October 15th, 2012. And there's an enclosure on that item. And then 5, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the probationary appointment of Susan Shelmadine as a teacher aide at step 1, $9,694 yearly prorated, effective October 17th, 2012. And there's an enclosure on that. And we'll do personnel 1 through 5, please. Any motion? Comments?
Just a couple, excuse me, a couple of things, and then I'll answer any questions that people may have. I do apologize for the addendums on the substitute, but I had a lot of interviews since the board agenda went out. We do need substitutes, and so we added those for the agenda. And the number 5 appointment is to replace the number 2 appointment for the teacher aide. And then, as you saw, Margaret Polaronicus has taken other employment. She was doing a part-time fill-in for us through January, so we're going to have to find an OT person to fill that position. So.
Question. On item 1, can we approve a leave for an approximate period, or should we make it for that period, and if it needs to change, either add or subtract from it?
You're the family medical leave expert.
Yeah, my question is, you know, should the leave have a definitive time rather than, you know, they still has to get back.
So possibly amend it to November 3rd. So can we amend that to just say November 30th and not approximate?
Okay. Any other questions on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried with that small change. Okay. So then we'll go to C, new business, and the resolution regarding financial aid for schools and municipalities located within the Adirondack Park. And I'm not going to read the whole resolution, but one recommended motion, be it resolved by the Ticonderoga Central School District that the governor and the legislature for New York State should take special consideration for financial aid for schools and municipalities located within the Adirondack Park. And you can read that through in the end, and I'll read the end now. Therefore, be it resolved by the Ticonderoga Central School District that the governor of the state of New York and members of the New York State Senate and the New York State Assembly must create a special aid fund to support schools located within the Adirondack Park to compensate for the loss of economic growth due to the regulatory requirements and maintain the Adirondack Park as the playground for New York State. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to the governor, Senate Majority and Minority Leaders, Assembly State Speaker and Minority Leader, and the members of the State Senate and State Assembly representing the Ticonderoga Central School District.
Second.
All in favor?
Well, actually, just so I
Oh,
can I
okay.
make, I just want to, this is something that we discussed at the last meeting. We had a draft of it. It was sent out to other members of interested parties within the community. Our taxpayers group, for example, that has been working on similar type stuff. It's been shared with all the schools within our BOCES. We are working on now extending that to the other 50-odd schools that are located within the Adirondack Park that are not part of our BOCES. And there's been contact made with other leaders of government to kind of push this along. And the whole point is that the Adirondack Park was created for one reason. It's grown in size since its inception from about 600,000 square acres to 6.1 million. To give you perspective on that, within the Adirondack Park, you can place the Grand Canyon, you can place the Glacier National Park, and you can place Yosemite within and still have room within the park. So that's how big it has become. In addition to it growing in terms of size, the amount of forest preserve within the park has also grown, and that restricts any adjacent land, and that's the reason for this. It's been well received by the people that I have talked to, and I know we've had some other board members talk to people, and the point is to make this a concerted effort and to present this as a group sometime in November, so that it's not just coming in dribs and drabs, but I think we should take the initiative and get it going, and then we'll work with other areas to continue the message. So.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to compliment Mr. McDonald on the effort he's put into this. I've been harassing him on a fairly daily basis to get this accomplished. There's a significant cover letter that goes with it to the people that we're forwarding it to, and he's to be commended for the effort that he has in this. He's done a really good job.
Thank you.
And well done.
Great. Yes. We also will put the resolution and the rationale on the website.
Very good. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll go to D, new business. Revision of the policy regarding protocol and procedure for managing sports-related concussions. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the enclosed revision of the policy regarding protocol and procedure for managing sports-related concussions for the Ticonderoga Central School District effective October 16th, 2012. Enclosure on that. E, new business, approval of the district discipline plan, code of conduct, and harassment policy. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the district discipline plan, code of conducts, and harassment policy for the 2012-13 school year, and there's an enclosure on that. F, new business, access one computer technician position. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve accessing one computer technician position effective October 16th, 2012. And G, new business, the recommendations of Committee on Special Education and Committee on Preschool Special Education. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the following recommendations from September 7th, 2012 through October 3rd, 2012, and you have an enclosure on that. And we'll do a motion on those items, please.
Just quickly, there was some adjustments in the concussion management policy based on the state mandate. Basically, we have to provide our coaches with some additional training, and the policy needed to reflect that. Our discipline code had to include the mandate from the new, this year, Dignity for All Students Act, which requires training for bullying. Mr. Graney is our coordinator for the district, and he's getting some training next week on that, so appreciate that. And the XX computer tech position is, when we appointed a technology coordinator, that left that position open, and we're just getting rid of it. So.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. We'll continue on new business. H, accept donation from Sarah Clarenbach. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education accept the donation of $250 from Sarah Clarenbach to the 8th grade Regents Biology Field Trip Fund of the Ticonderoga Central School District effective October 16, 2012. I, new business, accept the anonymous donation of McDonald's coupons. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education accept the anonymous donation of $500 worth of McDonald's coupons to the Alternative Education Program at Ticonderoga Central School District effective October 16, 2012. Enclosure on that. J, new business, the accepted donation of gift cards from Target. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education accept the donation of two $75 coupons from Target to the Ticonderoga Elementary School effective October 16, 2012. And you have an enclosure on that. K, new business, purchase of a textbook. One, recommended motion that the Board of Education, in accordance with Board Policy 6161.2, authorize the purchase of the following textbook: Wellness Concepts and Applications, David Aspa, Michael Hamrick, and Frank Rosato, McGraw-Hill, 2011, $72.50, and you have an enclosure on that, and I think it's being passed down to Mr. Fitzgerald as we speak. So we need a motion on those H through K, please. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. And then Mr. Burley, that will go to the Alternative Education Program. That I saw your note. Thank you very much. Okay. 6, informational items. Superintendent of Schools reports.
Yep, and you have your activities reports for all three buildings as usual. A couple of things that aren't on the agenda, just to make you aware. Done some outreach the past couple of weeks with some community groups. Mr. Green and I met with, I guess you could call it a business roundtable, meeting sponsored by the Revitalization Alliance in the community. And we heard a lot of things that I think we're trying to incorporate not only into the alternative high school program and the Next Step program that we've been running in terms of our getting students into the workforce and getting them work ready. But we heard got a lot of feedback from employers, from the chamber people, from the Workforce Investment Board on things that businesses are looking at in terms of skills that kids would need to walk into a job. So we took that information. We're meeting again on Monday, and hopefully we can think of some ways to kind of continue that discussion and make our students a little more prepared for the workplace. For example, walking into an interview with a pen as opposed to just walking in and making eye contact and things like that, and that the first day of hunting season is not a national holiday. So those are the kind of things that we're trying to talk about with that. So I'll keep you updated on those discussions. They do involve North Country, and we're trying to be a partner with North Country on doing this. And the North Country president and I kind of facilitated somewhat the discussion, and we'll continue to keep it going. I also started some community outreach. I met with the Rotary this morning. They want an update on the school. Had a great meeting in Hague with the Rotary folks, and we'll continue these discussions. And they were very receptive to the positive things that are happening here, and hopefully they'll go back and tell their neighbors that things are our kids do very well here, and they excel. So that was a good meeting this morning. And then finally, we found out yesterday that we were awarded the consolidation study grant with Crown Point. There was a press release I think the governor put out yesterday to at least the newspapers. We got an email and a phone call about it. I did email the Board of Education when I found out. So the next step is really getting it's a contracted service, so finding a group that can facilitate the study. I guess the question I would ask, and I know Mr. LaValle is the only one that went to the presentation on behalf of the board, but because this is a contracted service, we can choose someone who does something like this, and Mr. Alan Pohl from Silky and Costello, I thought did a great job in Crown Point. In fact, they're the catalyst in terms of both districts on how we went down this road. So I mean, I would recommend that we contact them. I guess I need to talk to the board about it first, because we don't need to do an RFP. It's a contracted service, and if we have someone that is available and can do the good job, the quicker we get going on the study, the quicker we'll have the information that we need. So.
Does Crown Point want input on who?
I did speak to their superintendent, and she was going to have the same conversation at their board meeting this evening, and she attended the same presentation, and she felt this person would be very good as well.
So I think it'd be appropriate to contact him.
Yes.
And if he's not available, maybe he could give us a recommendation.
Right. Yes.
Okay. And after speaking with Mrs. Brannick, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Excellent.
So the next step would be there's some contract stuff that would have to go out. Once we find a consultant, there'll be focus groups formed, an advisory group appointed by both school boards that will conduct some meetings and discussions. There'll be some public hearings. There'll be an advisory vote. They're going to need a lot of information from us, some that they can get themselves and some that they'll need for us to provide on tax rates, assessments, things like that, enrollment trends. But this is something based on the timing of getting this notification that the earliest something could be done, if that's the choice of both communities. And I will stress that this is a study, not we're going to go down this road. But if the study shows that there's some type of consolidation, the soonest that it could happen would be July of 2014. So, and I think if we had been notified of the grant sooner in May, as was advertised, that timeline might be different, but that's kind of where we are now. So Just to give folks an idea, there may be an article in the Post-Star tomorrow. I did get a phone call from their representative, and I am meeting with Mr. Herbst tomorrow about it. But I think the one thing that people need to stress, that this is a study. It may say something that we like, it may say something we don't like. It's up to both boards and both communities to make a decision on which way it goes. It may say, don't do anything. So, but the bottom line is it's something that the constituents can say, we can say to constituents that we examined this, and here's the data that it says. So, and
Thank you for that update.
Yep. And then we do have a volunteer coach, a volunteer weight room supervisor, Ben Van Wert, and I met with him, and he is getting his first aid CPR. So.
Okay. And we have your transportation report, your technology report, operation and maintenance. There are all three enclosures there. Mr. Alcott had to be called away for another situation, so he is not with us tonight. We won't have a presentation from him. Then C, we have the future items as listed here from November 12th, 2012 to the holiday break at the end of this year. So imagine that, right? So, so then we'll go with 7, public participation. Would anybody have anything, is there anything else anyone would like to address the board before we close? I think you have a small couple of things for executive session. Well, I guess, again, one thing I'd like to thank Mr. Boyce, Mr. Burley for coming, everyone else again for coming also, and maybe you two could sit in different spaces next time so that you can get along better. Yeah. And then one other thing, then one other thing is I'm amazed by the generosity from the community and the people, and it seems like every month there's somebody that's donating something to the school, and it's hard times, I know, for a lot of folks, but this is it really is a testament to the generosity of this community. So really appreciate that, and I know that you'll get thank you notes to all those donors, and those that are anonymous will stay that way.
One item that did get brought up is there's been a change in portion size in the elementary cafeteria, and it is completely out of the school district's control. Feel free to contact your federal representatives about it often, frequently.
Very well said.
We don't agree with it either, so it is what it is.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much for coming, folks.